Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are well. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for this information session about Safe Water September in schools. My name is Mitch. I live on the southern Mornington Peninsula, the lands of the Bunurong or the Bunurong people. My own people are my wife Cassandra, our 6 months, almost 7-month-old son Reuben, and all the people of the Churches of Christ movement around Australia. I want to acknowledge that wherever we're dialing in from in Australia, we are dialing in from Aboriginal land, from a country that has not been ceded. I want to extend my respects to elders past and present. So this afternoon's webinar is in webinar format. So I'm just going to chat through a bit of information about Safe Water September. And if you have a question at any point, use the raise hand button, and at the next break, I'll add you as a contributor and you'll be able to turn on your camera, your microphone, or chuck your question in the chat, whatever works best for you. Just remember that this webinar is being recorded for sharing online. So if you do have a question and want to ask anything and you turn on your mic or your camera, that'll be recorded as well. So just keep that in mind. The chat is always going to be there as an option, but either way, process is the same. Use the raise hand button and then I can add you in. So let's get started. By Global Mission Partners, which is the international mission and development arm of the Australian Churches of Christ. Safe Water September raises funds specifically for safe water projects implemented by local partners through Global Mission Partners. We currently Safe Water September is also an amazing learning opportunity for young people to engage with issues of global poverty, learn about international aid and development, and even practice their own leadership skills and explore what it's like to organize their peers, organize their communities, and to make a positive difference in the world. So the challenge itself is pretty straightforward. For the whole month of September, you just drink water, food as normal, but no coffee, soft drinks, water. So for that whole month, you are restricted in what you're able to drink. It's just this small little window into the experience of people living in poverty, where the biggest thing that poverty does to people is it restricts their choices. It limits their options. And so for the month of September, we take on that lack of choice willingly, intentionally, and just in a very small way. But we do that in living every day in poverty. And in doing that, we then ask people to donate, to sponsor us, and that money goes towards safe water projects in Zimbabwe, Vanuatu, and Bangladesh. So why do we need a project like Safe Water September? Why do we need this fundraising? What is this money doing? Water is the core of good development. It is the core of alleviating poverty, of addressing poverty cycles, of communities breaking out of cycles of poverty. It's without easy access to safe water, human flourishing is severely impacted. It has impacts on health, income generation, and education. It's also a human right. It's essential and it's protected. Every human being has the right to have enough water for personal and domestic use, between 50 to 100 litres per day. And this water needs to be safe, it needs to be affordable, and it has to be within 1,000 metres of the home. And collection time should not exceed 30 minutes. All that's from the UN's definition of water as a human right. However, 2.2 billion people still lack access to safely managed drinking water. And 3.5 billion people lack access to safely managed sanitation, including 419 million who practice open defecation, going to the toilet without a toilet. We want to change this. Safe water has a huge positive impact on almost every aspect of human life. Improving access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene globally could save 1.4 million lives per year and prevent the deaths of around 1,000 children under 5 per day. Safe water empowers communities to grow food for nutrition and profit. People can start businesses to generate income. And having access to safe water close to home is part of building community resilience in the face of climate change. Safe water also improves gender equality. One of the quirks of water is that water collection in communities and societies around the world is often viewed as women's work. This adds an additional burden on women and girl children that prevents them from taking a more active role in their communities. It prevents them from taking on leadership. It prevents them from getting an education, owning and managing their own businesses, for the simple fact that so much of their time, energy, and effort is tied up in collecting water. So I want to show you a story from one our partners about the impact that installing a borehole in Zimbabwe had on a community. And I want you to pay particular attention to the role it played in increasing gender equality in that community.
Chinosaraje mai vane vakasenga mutoro wezvinorema. Mvura ikanzi iri kure zvakadii, anotongoshingairira kuti anoiteka. Nokuti vanonzi mai kunoindai moteka mvura munoti iri kure. Chinhu kachiri kure hakuna unochida. Ndio patatanga kutoona kuti takumwa mvura yakanaka. Asi zvezvi takuona nyasha vana baba vakugona kutiisengera namabhara. These days vari kungomanya namabhara nengoro.
Saka iko zvino takasungunuka chaizvo nezvamakaita kuti tiwane mvura padhuze nyangwe ishoma.
Tinoda kungotenda nemufaro mukuru.
Tichando farao. Tichifara ende tiri kufara nokuti hakuchashaikwi mvura mumbazve. Asi nhasi tose tinongori pedo nechibhorani chedu.
That's a pretty great story and a real snapshot in the impact that Safe Water can have and the impact that Safe Water September is supporting and that your school can be supporting. I want to give you some examples of what Safe Water September can look like in different schools. So my first example for you is of Caleb. Caleb is a year 11 student, or actually he's currently a year 12 student at Don Vale Christian College. And he has been participating in Safe Water September for a number of years. He was also part of our team that visited Zimbabwe in 2024. It was awesome to have Caleb join us on that trip. I think it was a really impactful time for him. He's certainly reflected that it was a really positive experience. And we've seen him take on additional responsibility and take on the challenge with additional enthusiasm since doing that trip. He's organised lunchtime discussion groups about topics in around Safe Water September, and organised fundraisers like a smoothie bike stall and free dress days at school, things that can help his team raise money, raise funds, raise awareness. I asked him for a bit of a testimony on what that experience has been like for him. So I'm going to play that now.
Hi, my name is Caleb Harding, and I'm a Year 12 student at Don Vale Christian College. Last year, I had the opportunity of being one of my school's faith and mission leaders, and in that role, I was able to start my school's Safe Water September team. That year as well, I had the opportunity to visit Zimbabwe and see firsthand how clean water changes people's lives. This really encouraged me to start the team and to do all that I could to raise money. One of the things I was able to do was to speak at assemblies and share my experience to the people at my school and tell them just what I'd seen and how they could help. Thanks to GMP, we were able to run a fundraiser with our blender bikes. They came in with blender bikes and were able to do milkshakes for people, where they could either pay $2 for a milkshake or they could sign up and get one free. This helped take our team from just a couple people to a team of 16 people. One of the best fundraisers we did was a free dress day. We were able to raise $1,000. Overall, my school was able to raise $4,000 for the cause. One of my key takeaways from this experience was the saying, reach for the stars and you'll land on the moon. You have to set out an ambitious vision from the start. And while you might not reach that goal, you'll end up going so much further than you ever thought you could. The vision you set becomes your ceiling. Why not set it as far as you can? This year, we're planning on building on it and to keep setting our eyes higher and higher, because every person deserves access to clean water.
Thank you, Caleb, for sharing with us. Another example of a school that has taken on the challenge over a number of years is Waverley Christian College, also here in Victoria. They've participated over the last 5 years or more and have raised more than $40,000 over those 5 years. I asked one of the teachers who's been really instrumental in putting that challenge together at Waverley. Her name is Hannah. She's been part of organising Safe Water September at Waverley Christian College for most of the time that they've been running. And she said that our school has participated in Safe Water September for the past 5 years. It started off with our Make Poverty History Club and soon expanded to involve students and staff from every year level. For many in our community, participating in Safe Water September is an annual commitment, and it always serves as a fantastic community building opportunity in the second half of the year. Moreover, Safe Water September is a very accessible fundraiser or challenge for first-timers. So it's a great way to introduce students to community service and sacrificing for the sake of helping others. The beauty of Safe Water September is that it is so easy to sign up. All donations are managed online, and the premise is really simple. The only thing that teachers or leaders need to do is to advertise, encourage people to sign up, and provide progress reports. The work and time investment can be as little or as much as you want it to be. Our school has included the elements of prizes and competition between year levels, which serves as an additional motivation and community building. We found the extra effort to be really worth it. The best part about our involvement in Safe Water September is that our community has grown and continues to grow in generosity. Caring for others and being generous has started to be integrated into people's rule of life. It has also reinforced that it is possible for every single person to contribute positively to the lives of others, even through simple actions. God has widened our perspective and enlarged our hearts for others, which is invaluable. Thanks, Hannah, for sharing that with us. So that's a bit of background. That's a bit of other people's experiences of what Safe Water September is like. I want to move on now and tell you a little bit about what kinds of things you could expect from Safe Water September in your school context. So what can each age group get out of an experience of Safe Water September? There's lots to unpack, and there's different stuff that can be tailored to different year levels, different age groups, age and stage, whatever people are up to. For your grade 5 and 6s, you can start to think about basic groundwork. Why is water important? What role does water play in our lives? This is stuff that a lot of people might not have even thought about, particularly in Australia. We are very used to going to the tap, getting clean water, no effort. We don't think about it. It's just a background part of our life. And that's a great thing. It should be that way for everyone. But this prompts us to stop, think, reflect on what role water plays in our lives. For years 7 to 10s, I would recommend starting to open the conversation a bit broader. Start to look at global poverty. What barriers do communities face in ending poverty, and what role does water play in that process? Years 11 and 12, we're starting to get really nuanced. What does it mean that water is a human right? And how is water playing a part in the global process towards justice and equality? We have a number of resources that are available to schools and other groups to help you facilitate Safe Water September in your context and maximize the impact for your students. I'm going to show you our website and point you towards where you can find some of these resources to download, and then I'll go through and unpack some of them and where you might be interested in using those resources. So this is our Safe Water September website. This is actually last year's website. As you can see, it's got the fundraising total. That's how much the community raised around Australia last year. Very shortly, we'll be updating this to this year's 2025 website, but all of this stuff that I'm about to show you is going to be in the same place. So up here in our top menu, we've got our resources tab. If you come over here to resources, on here, we've got a promotional video that you can download and share freely. Host it on YouTube if that's easiest, but you can also directly download it from our Google Drive if it's easier to share the file that way. Down here, we have links to some of our video stories. All of these are great stories that really capture the impact that young people and people in your community can have by participating in Safe Water September. They show really tangibly the different parts of life that water affects and how transformative gaining access to safe water can be. You are welcome to use any of those videos in assemblies, put them in newsletters, use them in the classroom, whatever works. Down here, we have some resources for challenge takers and team leaders that have a bit of information about how to make the most of Safe Water September. The two actually that I would draw your attention to are our schools guide. Ignore that out-of-date thumbnail. We will be updating that. The schools guide and the simulation game. I'll talk a bit more about those in a minute. And finally, down the bottom of this page, we have some studies. 3 of these are specifically Christian Bible studies that invite young people and people of all ages to open the Bible together and explore how these themes intersect with faith. But this 4th one, the schools study, is a values-based study. It is specifically intended for use in classrooms or lunchtime groups. There's 4 sessions in there to help unpack Safe Water September. That could be something that you could run as an activity across 4 weeks of the challenge, or in the lead up to the challenge with the way school terms fall is probably a better option. So those resources are all there for you to make use of. Let go. So where you might want to use some of those resources, these are only recommendations. I encourage you to download those resources, have a read through, see where they might fit for your school. I would recommend the simulation game is fantastic for all ages, but it's a really great experience for grade 5s and 6s. That is a very active, very fun game about gathering water as a team from a water source and collecting it in a bucket. It's a relay race with water and cups. And then there's some additional roles and some things that your teachers or your helpers can do to sort of start to simulate what it's like collecting water every day in rural Zimbabwe. But of course, we're trying to make it fun. So it is a game. Included with the simulation game, there are some resources to help you unpack some of those experiences and relate them back to what's really happening in real life. For years 7 and 10s, I would also recommend the simulation game, but then I'd also be adding on the inquiry unit, the schools resource that you saw on the resource page. I'm currently in the process of revamping and adding to that schools resource, fleshing that out into being something that has additional activities and something that has clearer links to curriculum. So watch this space. When that's available, I will be sending out an email and putting it up on the website as well. For years 11 and 12, these are our emerging leaders. And Safe Water September is a really great opportunity to give them a chance to stretch their legs, stretch their wings, try their hand at organizing, at advocacy, giving them the job of organizing a fundraiser or putting them in charge of encouraging people to sign up and talking about Safe Water September to the school community can be a really positive experience, as we saw with the example of Caleb. And lastly, we do extend the offer of international partner visits to visit the communities where the funds we raise are having an impact. That is obviously a large project. It's something that will take time to organize. We don't have necessarily like regular scheduled trips where we do that. But if that's something that is of interest to your school, have a chat with me and we can see what we can organize. So what's next? If you're thinking about running Safe Water September in your school, what do you need to do? So the campaign launches on June 1st. After that date, you'll need to head to the website, set up your own account and a team. You have to have an account first. And while you're in the process of setting up an account, you'll be asked if you want to create a team. And just follow the instructions on the website. It will guide you through the process. Once you have your team set up, you'll get a unique URL that you'll be able to send to people so that they can join your team directly from that URL. And that will also be the place that they can donate if they would prefer to do that. So once you've got that URL, save it, bookmark it, keep it somewhere safe. That's going to be the thing that you include in every email, every social media post, every newsletter. And once you've got your team set up, you can start to think about what other elements of the challenge that you might like to draw on. You saw all those videos on the resource page. You might want to show one of those during an assembly. You might want to plan to run the simulation game with a class or a year level. You might want to download the school's resource or the revamped inquiry unit when it's available, and choose a couple of activities to introduce into your classroom setting. You can also book a Global Mission Partners speaker to come visit your school and talk about the challenge or run a workshop if that's something that you'd like. There is support available to you. I am responsible for organising Safe Water September and supporting leaders like you to run the program in your schools or your clubs or your churches, wherever it happens to be. So I would love to chat with you about how to make that really successful. My email is on the screen right now. You can also call our office and they'll be able to put you through to me. We'll also be running some advocate training in July. This will be for students or for leaders who are really wanting to anchor the program in their school or in their setting, and are looking to collaborate or bounce ideas off each other, come up with additional things that they can do to make the challenge really fruitful experience for everybody. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that's been really informative. I hope that's been really helpful. If you have any questions after this, if you think of anything, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email at any time. I'm more than happy to chat. I'm more than happy to arrange a call or a visit if you're local. Yeah. Did anyone have any questions that they wanted to ask before we close off for the evening? No. Beautiful. Well, I hope that's been a really positive evening for you. I trust that the rest of your day and that your evening is going to be great. As I said, if you have any questions at any time, give me a call, shoot me an email. More than happy to chat. Appreciate your time this afternoon, and yeah, have a great evening.